My name is Professor Erica Simpson, and this was pre-recorded on May 30th, 2025.
This opening session is our exhibit on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so I want to thank the Hiroshima and Nagasaki Day Coalition for providing us with the large posters which come from the city of Hiroshima. So these are made available to any city across the world. I've seen them many times. And they are a basic introduction to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The other smaller posters, of which there are many, were kindly given to us by Anton Wagner, who is in Europe right now. He's a filmmaker, and he actually made an exhibit which was at Toronto City Hall. And this is also online, so the link is online if you want to watch it and read it. The link is all online for everyone.
Let me add a disclaimer from the beginning that there are many shocking pictures in our exhibit, and there are also many pictures on my slides and on the slides shared by Anton Wagner, and also in the pictures of the books. So please be aware of those graphic images. Let me start by talking about the largest conventional bombs during World War II and the Hiroshima TNT relatively small bombs, and then now, of course, the megaton bombs with huge millions of tons of TNT capable of blowing up the entire world.
My name is Rose Dyson. I have been involved in activism, trying to make the world a better place for at least 30 years, and inevitably that has drawn me into the peace movement.
My name is Colton Stevenson.
We often talk about Japan, and we focus on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the sites of the two first and only uses of nuclear weapons in a war by the United States against Japan on August 6th and August 9th, leading to the defeat of Imperial Japan and the end of World War II.
This is the anniversary of the dropping of the Hiroshima bomb. It is something that is still very much in need of greater attention. The profile of the nuclear problems have to be raised. There are other intervening factors that have pushed the need for nuclear disarmament into the background. The treaties are not making quite as much progress as we would like, but hope springs eternal.
A B-29 warplane flying above 9,000 meters opened its doors. Over the next 43 seconds, a weapon of meteoric force hurtled toward Earth.
And that was flown by the man, General Paul Tibbets. He wasn't a general then, but he was a pilot. And he flew over Hiroshima and gave the order. He never regretted it. He never admitted to any regret at all on that inside now. But that's interesting to think about. We're not trying to just talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're trying to talk about nuclear testing around the world.
It's crazy to think that 80 years ago, 200,000 plus people instantly died at the same time in one moment. Fortunately, it's been the only occasion of nuclear weapons ever being used, but that constant fear of them going off whenever is ever present, especially recently with the geopolitical situations in the world. It got a little bit more complicated in the last few years since COVID. It's very scary to think about that they're always an everlasting presence.
And this leads to questions about was the bombing necessary. These are questions that I raised in the Hiroshima and Nagasaki exhibit, and we could talk about in a discussion or in a Q&A. So there's many issues to think about. Was it actually necessary to end World War II by using atomic weapons?
The extent to which state terrorism is becoming more intense. If you mean by state terrorism sort of a policy to go out and create havoc in another country or a perceived enemy state, that does have to be kept in check in some way. So it seems to me that as many international alliances as we can come up with in the world is going to be a good thing, and will mitigate some of the state terrorism that can become such a problem. And in that context, I'm not only thinking of NATO, but like the British Empire and the Commonwealth of Nations, or various other organizations. Having said that, I'm aware of the controversy surrounding international trade, but perhaps the ethical components haven't been strong enough in how this is conducted, which has been a problem for us.
How much warning time would the public have had? And we know now that there were approximately 200,000 people killed in Hiroshima and 200,000, approximately, we don't know for sure, that died as a result of the bombs in Nagasaki. There were survivors, the Hibakusha, and we are honored, of course, to show pictures of Setsuko Turno, who is one of the Hibakusha survivors who ended up in Canada. How much warning time would the public have had? Well, really none.
So answering the question of how we can respect and think about the memory of Hiroshima in a respectful way, I think you need to put a lot of effort imagining what it means to lose that number of people. I mean, any loss of life is a tragedy, right? But thinking about 200,000 people being vaporized, I think the best way for me to think about it and for me to feel respectful in it is to imagine all the lives lost. And it's the little things, right? It's 200,000 people will never see a nice person on the street or smile at someone. It's the sadness of any life being lost, but just the small interactions, all the families. But I think it's you need to really look at it with facts. Like, you need to examine the situation, look at who did it. Don't be shy to express the truth of it. But it's just really about looking at it with empathy and understanding that of this great tragedy that America and the Western countries did to Japan. I think that's the answer for me, is just you have to really consider what happened there. And it's easy to think about 200,000. That's an easy number, but it means nothing in our head because humans aren't really good at imagining big numbers, right? You just have to think about every like coffee date. I mean, stuff like that. It's unimaginable.
I'm going to turn to you in a moment and ask you to make some comments, some reflections, Sylvie, in the few minutes we have left.
It's part of breaking the denial that this is a situation in the world right now, and finding the inner strength to see what's your peace, by your actions. So your eyes are open. You choose what are your next step. Like Peter, by being here today, you are in action. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
With its population of 245,000, Hiroshima was the 7th largest city in Japan. Hiroshima was built on flat terrain except for a single low hill in the eastern part of the city. The fan-shaped delta of the Ota River provided natural fire breaks, sufficient to prevent the spread of fire of any normal incendiary attack. In addition, 7% of the city's residential units had been torn down to make supplementary fire breaks. Residential units in general were of wooden construction, like these in Kyoto, about half being 1 story and the remainder 1.5 to 2 stories high.
What plans did the government have in place? This is a huge topic, and I've accessed many files and has written a book about the plans that the Canadian government had in case of a nuclear war. What are their plans now? Black. We don't know. We don't know what the plans are. Here's the plan from 1960, and as you can see, and I'll show you in a minute, they basically thought that much of the country would be targeted, and there would only be perhaps 2 hours warning time. I've enlarged that so you can see a little bit better, but until 1962, it would have been mainly manned bombers coming over the Arctic. So we talk a lot in Canada about the Bobermark missiles and also about the CF-105s and the CF-101s. During that time, they thought they could intercept the nuclear bombers, the Soviet air-breathing bombers coming over the Arctic. The period, according to this declassified document, would have been a few days, but now it might happen over weeks or years. It might happen over a long time.
The long-term effects of bombing and nuclear proliferation, I think, was something that worried Oppenheimer, who was responsible for developing the atomic bomb that fell on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. He had some misgivings, having been the inventor of this particular weapon. And I think he argued for sealing off the continuing research on the subject, but he was overruled by other forces, and I think implicated with communism and so on. I think we need to examine the way in which war and violence is such an integral part of the way we live our lives.
A survivor story. This is, as I mentioned, a survivor is Hiroshima, and it landed at 8:15 a.m. And so that's when we generally have some sort of memorial services. But this year is the 80th anniversary, so we're holding memorial services during the entire year. And I hope that this exhibit can be a significant part of that.
It's very scary to think about that they're always an everlasting presence in our lives, and will be until we fully disarm, which seems unimaginable right now. But I'm very hopeful that we can one day move along from nuclear weapons. It's unimaginable right now because there's no political will, or there's no international feelings of cooperation, and so much of our society is about competition with China or Russia. But I'm hopeful that we will be able to get past this, because in my opinion, I think as long as we have the weapons, if given enough time, and there's a chance they go off any given time, they will go off one day. So it's essential that we get them gone before it's too late. And I think we'll be able to do it. It's just it'll be scary until it's done.